Hi, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Experts. This is Jeanette Anderson, and I'm here with the amazing Michelle Callaway Bowden to talk about augmented reality, amongst other things. I know my reality gets augmented every day by certain things, but I think it means something different than what we're going to talk about. Michelle is an amazing new person that I've met who is not only an experienced business person, has built and grown a tech company, but also has all sorts of information about where marketing is going, what's the latest and greatest, and is also just a really cool, genuine, enthusiastic woman, very positive. So it's one of the things that I've really appreciated about getting to know you, Michelle. So welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Jeanette.
Let me give you the official background of Michelle, and then I'm going to ask her, for the juicy details that aren't in here. So Michelle Callaway is a speaker, international best-selling author, and the founder and CEO of Revelio, Inc., an innovative software solutions company specializing in augmented reality interactive experiences. I know you got to see it to understand what that means. She is driven to success in response to a calling she believes has been placed in her life. Her goal is to make these augmented reality experiences accessible and affordable for everyone, to enhance human relationships and empower business owners to have more impact, influence, and income. Michelle combines her expertise in visual communications with an emerging world of augmented reality. This cutting-edge technology overlays virtual content on top of the real-world objects when they're viewed through a mobile or wearable smart device. Again, it'll make more sense when you see it. She wants to share her inspirational story and teach the power of augmented reality video marketing to forward-thinking business owners and corporate leaders. Her heart is to empower small business, and it definitely is, to gain the ultimate competitive advantage by captivating their audiences and influencing their buying decisions. All right, so that's the official bio. Now, you gotta tell us at least one juicy thing that we wouldn't guess about you by just kind of looking at you and hearing all that technical stuff. So besides all of that, what's something most of us wouldn't guess about you?
Most of us, yeah. Most people wouldn't guess that I've been married twice now, not through divorce, but because I was widowed. I was widowed when I was in my 30s, and that was pretty tragic, and that's actually what helped push me in the direction of where I am today. So.
Okay, well, my condolences. That's got to be a very, very hard thing to go through at that age, and well, at any age, but and having not been married for a long time. So you said that kind of ties into your why. So tell us about your why. Why this kind of arena? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, I am a very faith-based entrepreneur. So let's just put that at the precept, because everything I do for a higher calling. Okay. So after losing my husband, who was the love of my life, and he was my why for a lot of things. And then after he was gone, it just really makes you question all your priorities. And I basically didn't have any clue why I was still here. He was gone, I was still here. So I just looked to God, my higher authority, to help me figure out what my purpose is. My background is in visual communications, digital media, graphic design. I can do a lot of video, that kind of digital media communication, visual communication. And so I owned my own graphic design agency for a little while. And then in 2012, I was introduced to this amazing technology called augmented reality. And I couldn't sleep for 2 whole weeks, Jeanette. It was so disruptive. Like it just completely would not let me go. And when something comes on you that just sticks with you and just won't let go like that, you feel like you're meant to do something with it. So that's what pretty much led me down this path. I didn't understand why me. My communication, my background is more in visual communications, not technology, guys. So technology is who I am today. I'm a technology founder. Crazy, I know. And female tech founder. It's just like, what? But when you believe you're called to something, you have to just step out in faith that the answers are going to come along the way. And so I started studying and learning how to develop with this amazing technology that I'm going to demonstrate to you in a little while. And I built my very first prototype in 2012. And I was very proud of myself. So then I started figuring out how to market it. Like, how am I going to get this out there? And I just still didn't quite understand why it was me that was called to do this, until a young lady came into my office that saw that I can make images and objects appear in virtual space when an object. So basically, augmented reality will take something like an object, like an image of a business card, for instance, and when it's viewed through our app on a mobile smart device or wearable glasses, you can see virtual content appear on the card, but through the phone. You're seeing it through the phone. So the phone is acting as your lens. Well, she saw that I can make objects and images come alive, and she had fallen in love with a boy, but he had been deployed overseas now in the military. And she missed him like crazy. So she said, will you help me create a greeting card that will come alive and he can hear me and see me anytime he wants? That way, he feels a little bit like home is with him. And I just got chills all over my body. And I said, yes, let's do that. So we created this beautiful greeting card for him. Has a beautiful face on it. And when he downloaded the app, he'd never heard or seen anything like this before, but this is what he saw. Let's see if I can demo this. Hey, Josh. Do you see how a video is playing where her photo is on the card?
Yep, lift it up a little bit. There we go.
See, she's talking to him. The volume's down a little bit low, but this is what he saw when he experienced her talking to him on a card. And he said it just rocked him to his core, made the oceans disappear between the two of them, and he felt that she was right there with him. And so he carried that card in his wallet every day while serving, because it made him feel so much closer connected to her. So after losing my husband and valuing human connection, we only get people for the time that we get to have them. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I'm all about enhancing that human connection. So maybe that is why I'm here, is to build a tool that makes this type of interactive experience available for all people, whether you're really doing well in your business, or whether you're just starting out in your business, or whether you want to do it for personal purposes, like send somebody an anniversary card or a birthday card, or you can, send somebody like a thank you card. Even for your business, you can send somebody a thank you card that has a personal message that will come alive with this tool. So that is kind of what set me down this path to build Revealio. I built it in a way that is accessible and affordable for all, because my heart really is with the small business owner. I'm a small business owner at heart. I know I've built a scalable model and I'm scaling now. It's very exciting, but I want everybody to be able to experience this, Jeanette. That's basically why I'm here. I feel that's why I'm here.
That's cool. So that's a very cool application, but tell us a little bit more about the kinds of things like trade shows. Can you demo on the banner behind you? Or do you have that?
So this is a beautiful tool for engagement, because last year, Salesforce did a survey and found that 80% of all consumers said that the experience that they have with the brand is just as important, if not more important, than the product or service that company is selling. So one of the tools that we can do with augmented reality in the simplest of form is to make your banners come alive, your business cards, your rack cards come alive. If you're an author, you can make your books come alive, so that you can interact with people on a whole nother level. Let me just show you this poster. Can you see that in the script?
Yeah.
Do you see do you see how my phone's now playing? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can turn a poster into an interactive, a communication, and then there's called action buttons below the mobile that allow you to claim a free gift. So there's always something of value for the viewer, right? You can do this on a rack card. I've got a rack card here where I've got different images that trigger different video responses. Like this top one is more of a corporate message. And then towards the bottom one here, you've got my husband's business card that comes alive with a personalized video.
That's very cool.
It's very cool. So you can use this on any swag, anything that you're handing out, and you can provide that robust interactive experiences that's going to evoke some sort of an emotion. You're going to cause people to go, oh, wow, like you heard those people say in that video, oh, wow, that's so cool. And then on top of that, you're able to communicate your message and your why you're doing what you're doing through that video message. And then you're able to take them to that next step with those called action buttons. So you could potentially take somebody through the entire buyer's journey in less than 60 seconds with this tool. It's sorry, it's really, really fresh. It's really edgy. It is pretty much, I've been told again and again and again. Some people said, man, this is like, I'm addicted now. I'm addicted to showing off my business card. But you do it in a way, of course, that's always very authentic. It's very warm. You don't push yourself upon anybody, but you can provide them now, like at a trade show. How many times have you been at a trade show, Jeanette? Right? Where you're standing, you're hoping somebody's going to visit your booth. And now you can actually stand up and say, hey, would you like to see something very cool?
Yeah.
You have something very cool to show them, but the message is all about you and your brand. And
cool.
they can interact with you in a fresh, new, edgy way. So that's a tool that I've built. Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. So, and how does, because you kind of mentioned it, but I'm not sure that it was real clear. What was your why kind of before finding out about the technology and the young lady and the guy? What is your overall why that kind of drives you in your business here?
Well, I actually believe that I am meant to be an influencer in the space of technology for perhaps women, for perhaps older generations that aren't the young little 20-something whippersnappers. I actually am trying to start up a community called Tech with Heart. And I'm trying to build that community to the point where we're just a huge, gigantic, vetted referral network of heart-centered, forward-thinking business owners that we can all trust and do business with one another. But we're all looking to stay on top and fresh and relevant with new technologies, such as augmented reality, artificial intelligence, machine learning, so that we can be in the forefront and not get closed down by huge businesses like Amazon. We want to stay fresh and relevant as much as possible, but we don't want to forsake our need for one another. So Tech with Heart, meaning we need to always make sure technology is working for us and keeping those heart-centered relationships at the core of everything that we do, because we need each other. People need each other. We need technology to help make us more efficient, but we don't need technology to replace our need for one another. So I really do believe in the end, this Tech with Heart network that I'm building is going to also have a philanthropic arm, and it's going to help place children in permanent loving home environments through adoption or fostering. That's the vision that I've been given through all of this.
Oh, lovely. That's interesting, because I really get that you have a passion for connecting people, connecting people on an authentic basis, and you know, the conversation is, how do we have technology connect us instead of distance us, which is what it has done by and large. You know, people are on their phones while they're sitting at the table together, and on social media all the time, and they think they're connecting, but really what they're doing is sending messages out that, you know, they're not having conversation. We constantly have to remind people that phones actually can phone people as well.
What?
It's crazy talk.
So
you can actually talk to the person, which is just actually becoming a lost art. Yeah. So I love the underlying grounding of having technology serve, and I love tying it into that larger cause of connection, and ultimately connecting kids with loving families is a beautiful direction. How has it been for you building a tech company? Because, you know, you kind of mentioned female in tech, and it is still quite an anomaly. There's not very many tech companies that are started and run by women, more now, but it's still an anomaly. So what's been your experience of building a tech company, and have you noticed in the process any distinct challenges around being a woman doing that?
Well, so the challenges of being a tech company is like you have to grow a pair. You have to believe.
Pair of ovaries, right? You have to have big ovaries.
You do have to feel that you can hold your own. And for me, when I stepped into this space, I did it as an answer to a call, but I quickly had to teach myself as much as I could possibly and surround myself with other friendly tech people who could also teach me and guide me along the way. And believe it or not, I started out as just an augmented reality marketing company, but now, because of the evolution that I've gone through over these last 3 years, I am now a full-fledged software development company, which means that, you know, we don't just do augmented reality experiences. We can build mobile apps now. We can build, you know, obviously we don't just do web design. Anybody can do web design, but we also do a lot of back end building for more advanced web development. We can build web apps too. That's a whole new trend that's happening. We're moving away from native apps and we're now building more web apps. So the learning curve has been steep. Like I said, I was never drawn towards this sector, but I stepped into it and I'm owning it, and that has been a bit of a challenge now. When I first came over to California, I came over here to get my company going because I'm originally from Nevada and I just wasn't finding the support there that I needed. So I joined an incubator, and I really recommend doing that if you are stepping into an industry that you need a lot of guidance. I mean, holy cow, I didn't know anything about not only building a tech company, but how to build one so that it can be what they call evergreen or scalable. So learning from the experts is really what you need to be doing. I mean, nonstop, feeling like you're drinking from the fire hose because it's coming at you so fast, this knowledge, but just trusting in yourself and your why, and trusting that, you know, if you've been called to it, perhaps like me, I feel definitely like it was something divine that wasn't of me. I was perfectly fine doing what I was doing. Right. But there's a higher purpose in this, and I'm excited to see how it all ends up unfolding, you know, and I'm excited in the process too, because I'm meeting amazing people. But I do have an issue with being a woman, especially a woman and older. I'm about middle-aged, I suppose. I'm in that range, and a lot of people ask me if this is, you know, my company or company that I represent, and I say, no, I've actually built this, and then they actually do this. They go, oh, whoa. Oh, okay, all right. And they have to get their head around that for a second, because it is really not that common to see, especially in older women, maybe a younger woman where they've been raised with technology their entire life. But, you know, there is a little bit of a challenge. But hopefully as we get more and more and more women, just, you know, empowerment and people realizing women are just as intelligent, you know, that we can hold our own just fine. Or, you know, I didn't want to say that, but sure. You know, we definitely need to hold our own. I've learned how to present a little bit more. At first, I was a little bit more happy. And now when I'm presenting, I need to read the room, and I need to speak to them in a tone and a confidence level that will ascertain that I do know what the heck I'm talking about, and I can indeed, you know, do what I say I can do. So that's a little bit of a challenge, but it's not too, I think, overwhelming.
So speaking of which, in terms of standing in your power, because that's what I really heard you say, is that you've learned how to stand more in your power and really claim and own your value. How did you do that? What was some of the keys for you that's helped you do that more over the years?
Okay, well, again, for me, it's my faith. I definitely need to know exactly why I am here and why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I didn't have that knowledge, I would be so scared. I'm not just doing this all on my own. I don't feel alone. But then on top of that, I continually surround myself with empowering, successful people. You know, and it's so key to do that. If you're only hanging out with people that have only achieved a certain level of success, then you're going to be limited to that level of success as well. So I keep leveling up. In fact, I just wrote a chapter in a book called Experts and Influencers. It's coming out very soon. And the whole chapter is all about leveling up.
Right.
What that guide is like to keep going up to the point where you are considered an influencer. You're a leader in your space. People look at you and they know you're the real deal, and they will take your word on things. And that's pretty much the journey that I'm on, is getting to that level so I can build this huge community, you know, so that I can lead people and do well. So
yeah.
Surround yourself with experts, guys. If you want to.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And for those who are thinking of actually moving from being solopreneur to growing a company, you mentioned that you went to an incubator. What's the pros and cons of that? And incubators aren't just for tech firms. They are for almost any kind of firm, including service firms. So what for you has been the pros and the cons of moving into an incubator? And did you also go and get funding?
I did learn how to pitch for funding. I tried to get some funding initially. My very first app was an actual greeting card, an augmented reality greeting card app, and that's the one that I pitched for. That one didn't take off the way I was hoping it would, but now I've moved on. I've got this whole B2B business model for the augmented reality marketing, for the tools that you saw, more for businesses. So what I learned, or what was the pros and the cons?
Yeah, pros and cons of going into an incubator and or the whole funding process.
So for me, the incubator was seriously good in the sense that I was surrounded immediately with experts from each different aspect of business. You know, you got the expert in finance, you got the expert in marketing, you got the expert over here in the setting up your teams, you know, and figuring out your business model and figuring out your business plan, making sure your plan is solid, you know. They helped with all of that stuff. So I wasn't just learning from my peers, I was learning from experts. So if you're ever considering an environment where you're going to be able to learn all of that under one hood, again, that's what you should be doing, is learning from the experts, not necessarily your peers. Peers do bring a certain level of expertise, perhaps in their field, because they've studied their field long enough to figure out that that's what they want to build their business in. So there are times where you can build really cool camaraderies with other business owners that are trying to get going. They can tell you what they've tried, what they've experienced, that they failed at pretty quickly. They're very open usually to sharing what works and what doesn't. But and then you always take that with a grain of salt, and then you take it to the experts and say, this is what I heard, what do you think? And then you get the experts' opinion, because ultimately they're the ones that have had far more experience and they've seen success. So that's what you really want to go after, is taking the advice from the successful experts. Right?
Yeah.
So
the ones that seem to be successful, but the ones who actually are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of both.
Exactly. Yes. So that's what I did, and I learned so much. And it really, every time I learn more and I learn more, and I practice, like I practice pitching. And then after I got out of the incubator, I ended up joining another network where I learned a lot about networking and marketing and sales. And then I also learned how to start speaking on stages. So the more you do, the more you're practicing, the more you're going to get better. It just happens, especially when you ask for feedback. You know, you need that feedback so that you can grow from that feedback. Constructive criticism, kind constructive criticism.
Yeah. Constructive and productive, something that actually helps you move forward. So how much has your company grown? So going from the idea to where it is now, how many people do you have, over what period, and or just, you know, revenues or people numbers or whatever kind of metrics you want to share? How much has your company grown in what period?
So for me, my problem for this little startup of mine is that I have been bouncing a little bit, pivoting. They call it pivoting. So I started out as a greeting card company. I mentioned that. And then in 2017, I took the whole year to more or less learn about how to market, sell, and speak on stage and grow. And that's when we started that pivot to the B2B model. So I kind of feel like I'm only a year-old company now, because this new model, I just rolled it out in 2018, did a lot of testing in the market and found price points. You got to figure out, you know, not only do people want what you have, but what are they willing to pay for it, right? And figuring out who exactly is your target market, because sometimes the people you thought are your target market don't end up being your strongest target market. So a lot of field studies and stuff like that went on. So we launched our whole back end in January of 2019. So all of that to say that I'm kind of just launching this new model. And since we've launched it in the January of 2019, the pickup has been great because of all that back work that I was doing. So I was doing a lot of network while I was building. And so I'm starting to see, I wouldn't say floodgates completely opening, but a tremendous amount of surge has been happening just from all of that I've learned and doing and getting in front of people regularly. So my team has grown, and I've got some really solid team members, and that's really important. You can't do it alone. If you're going to scale a company, you cannot do it alone. Yeah. Just absolutely cannot. So I've got a solid team now of about 5, which is great. And I have a whole software team that's also scalable. So my core 5, and then I have an actual development team that could scale bigger, but we stay around, I think around 8 is where we're at right now, developers that are prepared to take on whatever comes our way, but we can scale bigger if we got bigger clients. So that's where we're at. So our revenue is still a little on the low side because we just started really selling this tool, but now, like I said, we're now a software development company too. That's also brand new in 2019. So we're hoping to do more mobile applications, and that'll help with our revenue too.
Well, and I know from 35 years of experience that is a typical journey, not atypical. that it often takes about 3 years to get a company to a place where you've dialed in who it's for, what the product is, what the market and supply and demand mix is that's appropriate to get the systems and processes, infrastructure and team in place. Takes 3 years. So you're actually right on time or you're ahead of the curve for a lot of companies. So congratulations. And you're really clear now on where you're heading and going, so based on results of the uptake. So just very quickly, we've got just a few minutes left. I'm curious where you see, because technology is in theory about connecting, and in reality tends to be disconnecting. I think more and more the trends are, and I know we've got people on the line who are not big fans of drip campaigns and that kind of thing that sends out canned messages to massive numbers of people and so on. As effective as it may be, in many ways, it's a disconnecting model as much as it is also in some ways connecting. So where do you see the future, because you're talking to a lot of people about this kind of thing, where do you see the future of technology in terms of empowering connection? Big question.
That's a really big question. But I can tell you that I'm seeing a lot of really good stuff happening with artificial intelligence. And I think I just read an article today about how important it is for us to be using the EQ. You've probably heard of that, right? The emotional intelligence. Like, how can we combine emotional intelligence with artificial intelligence in a way that it does a lot of the work for us? Because so much of selling is about getting in front of the right people at the right time when they're ready to like make that kind of decision. They're looking for something, and to be able to have the AI work for you to place you in that right spot is really great. But we can't forsake the human touch, right? So bringing in that EQ, we have to be able to build a tool, and maybe somebody will, or maybe it's in the works right now, because everybody's realizing that chatbots are chatbots and they're not communicating with chatbots, because I don't want to be spending my precious human time communicating with the chatbot. I would much rather spend my precious time communicating with another human being. And even if we don't make a sale with one another, or perhaps partner with one another, we're still going to walk away feeling like, like I would with Jeanette. I felt very connected to you, and I'm like, I like what you stand for, and you like what I stand for. So we're now buddies. We can like reach out and say, hey, what's going on? We're human. I love that. So I think that just keep your eye on, and if you want to, you can follow Tech with Heart, because it's a free platform right now to be a member, and just be made aware of some of these emerging technologies and how it's being used to enhance that human connection, because that's what we're all about.
Lovely, thank you. So how do they find that and more information about Revealio? How do they get in touch with you?
So Tech with Heart is tech, like the short for technology, Tech with Heart. You can just go to Facebook and just search that, and join our group, join our page, and then you'll be made aware. I do a lot of Facebook Live interviews with experts regularly, so that I'm giving you quality information about what you should be thinking about to help your business grow, and using technologies and keeping human connection at the core of it all. And then on top of that, if you're interested in learning how you can make this technology work for your marketing, the augmented reality that I showed you, where it makes virtual content come all up on books, on rack cards, on business cards. It's very dynamic. The company is called Revealio. It's the word reveal, like to reveal something magically. So it's revealio.com. And then if you wanted to learn more about the marketing aspect of it, which is that tool, revealio.com/marketing. That's a great place to go. There's even an educational webinar if you'd like to learn a little bit more about it. You can go straight to learning a little bit about our pricing. It's very affordable. So
awesome. And if they want to just reach out to you directly or get some time with you, how can they do that?
info@revealio.com. Just ask to speak with me. Tell me info@revealio.com, revealio.com.
Okay, awesome. I just put those in the comments there, and I don't see any questions posted. If those of you who are watching have any questions, please put them in there now, because we're about to wrap up. And let me know if you do. What I'd love to just kind of have you leave everyone with is if you could give advice to women who want to scale their company, want to grow their company, what would be the thing that you would tell them or your younger self, if you were advising you a few years back, to get over, through, or around all of the stuff that gets in the way? So what would you advise someone who's...
Yeah, Sandra Yancey from eWomen Network, she said this once and it stuck with me. And I think it's so powerful. Do only what you can do. In other words, even if you're a solopreneur and you're starting to find yourself doing busy work that is needed, but is something that you could teach somebody else to do for a nominal fee, start setting those systems in place now, because at the time when you're ready to scale, if you don't have those people trained, then you're going to be like, I've got all this work coming at me and I can't handle it because I'm still too much in the weeds. So start creating systems. And what that means is that if you find yourself doing a replicatable, thing, whatever that is, either create a video about how you do it or write it down step by step how you do that. And then start looking to who you could hire and hopefully land somebody that's good at what they do, they communicate well with you, and start teaching them these things so that you can let more and more go so that you can focus on what is really important to you and what's really important to the business.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's great advice, and especially the documenting it so that you don't have the same ramp up time every time with a new subcontractor. And I know we're supposed to go, but that begs the question, because I can hear people saying it in their heads, because I'm psychic that way and I hear them, I know them. Say, well, that's great, but then how do I generate the cash flow to be able to bring on the team that then frees me up to be able to go and do more sales and so forth? So do you have any suggestions? Because one of the biggest leaps to make is from solopreneur, where you're cash flowing basic needs, to running a business where there's more revenue requirements, like for team and infrastructure and so forth. That leap, how did you manage that leap?
Well, actually, I'm not completely there either. I'm scaling right now, and luckily I have like that core team I was telling you about. So the more and more I continue to train my core team, the better I go at night. I can sleep at night and I don't feel like, I left too many things in the air. Yeah. So what I recommend on the capital side is, if you make the investment, even if it's something you have to pull out of savings, or you go and ask somebody for enough money that you can hire somebody, because you don't have to have somebody in your office. It can be a virtual assistant. It's a big thing these days, these VAs. Mm-hmm. Do it rather than not do it with wherever the resources come from, because here's why. If you don't, you're never going to be freed up to actually focus on the sales. And it's the sales that generates the revenue. So if you're focused too much on the weeds and you don't have time for the sales, then you're shooting yourself in the foot and you're just going to regret it, I think. So that's my recommendation. Yeah. Make the investment. Whatever that looks like, everybody's going to be different. Maybe you only need one VA to help out 10 hours a week, and that would help you have 10 more hours you can use towards sales. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. All right, thank you so much. I know we've kind of gone all over the place with lots of things. I highly recommend that you do check out revelio.com/marketing so that you can see the cool things that you can do with this. And I did, earlier when I first talked to Michelle, I asked her, well, you could have a video at your booth and you could kind of do this kind of thing other ways, and then people have to have the app and so forth. But really, it's actually much simpler, I think, than to facilitate people having that wow reaction and to be able to bring in multiple layers to the conversation. Because really, part of what we've lost is the art of the conversation, of connecting with one another, and throwing someone a flyer or a brochure ain't gonna cut it. Yeah. In fact, most marketing has gone the way of the dodo bird in terms of traditional marketing, and then we flounder around online, not really connecting with each other. So I think this is a wonderful way to bridge those two worlds, bring in more connection with the video, bring in more connection with really actually speaking to them in that moment. And it's also got some pretty cool factor. Wow.
So I love your passion for this. I love that you're tying it into, a renaissance of tech with heart, and going in that direction, because the future does need people who want to lead the future in the direction of heart, connection, collaboration, and co-creation. So thank you for being one of those, Michelle. Thank you for being here today. And if you want to reach Michelle, then reach out at info@revelio.com so that you can connect with her directly. And she's a member of the community, so you can also reach out to her at Audacity's Action Heroes if you've got additional questions. So thank you for being here, my friend. I know we could go on and on about all sorts of things, but you're a busy corporate woman, so we got to. All right. Have a great day.
Great being here. Thank you so much, Jeanette.
Thanks everybody for being here, and for go out and be bodacious today.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.